Welcome to the Tough Decisions Network. This is your tip of the day. Be sure to visit toughdecisions.net to sign up for our free weekly entrepreneur email, where we send you news about the latest technology for your business, inspiring quotes, and the latest entrepreneur books. That's toughdecisions.net. Before we get started, let's hear from one of our sponsors. Have you ever thought about investing in real estate, but find yourself so busy that you don't have time for it? Do you have FOMO, which is the fear of missing out? At HanfordCapital.com, we help investors with passive real estate investments that project better returns than traditional investment vehicles such as the stock market. If you'd like to find out more about our passive real estate investments, visit HanfordCapital.com. That's HANDFORD capital.com. We will jump on a call with you to discuss your investment goals and to see if our investments are a good fit for you. This advertisement is not to be construed as an offer or recommendation to buy or sell a security. Visit HanfordCapital.com.
Thanks for joining me today. This is Dennae, and I am sharing some tips for leaders in dealing with and leading their millennial employees. And I am myself part of the millennial generation, so I want to be a help to the leaders who are leading people like me. I would say I'm on the early end of the millennial generation, so I may not have as strong a resemblance to what we think of as your typical millennial, but I am part of that generation, and I do recognize some of these characteristics in my own life and my own experience. And I do think there are effective ways to lead the millennial group. The millennial group has some strengths, and we're going to talk about those going forward. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to use those strengths as well. But right now we're going through some tips on how to lead the millennials, how to work with this group in some of their weaknesses, and how to help them through some of their weaknesses. And my tip for you today is to make sure that you are encouraging note-taking on paper instead of computers in your conferences or in your meetings. Now, the last tip we talked about was keeping your conference room free of cell phones. So now a second tip, and related to the conferences, meetings, conference room, encourage note-taking on paper instead of computer. All the science shows that note-taking on paper is actually a more effective way to process and retain information. And so that would be most importantly why. And the reason I think for that is that it's not possible to write down on paper everything that someone says. And so the brain is not only engaged in copying information, but it's engaged in discerning what the most important pieces of information are, what might be superfluous and not necessary to remember. And so it's actively engaging in that process while you're taking notes. And so it's actually a more effective way to process and retain information. Now, definitely possible to copy more information or to write down more while you're on the computer. I mean, you can obviously type a lot faster than one can write. And so if you're just wanting quantity, then of course, a computer is going to be more effective. If you're actually wanting to process the information and to remember the information, then the notepad and the pen is going to be more effective anyway. So encourage note-taking on paper instead of computers. If you're the kind of person or organization that for one reason or another needs a digital copy of your notes from your meetings, then assign one person to take notes on the computer, and then those can be distributed to everyone else. Or have someone assign a person to transcribe their written notes into digital form and then disperse to everyone else after the meeting is over. But that's going to help this millennial generation who is prone to distraction and prone to losing their train of thought and not being able to focus for longer periods of time. That's going to help them remain focused. It's also going to help them with the processing of the information, and you're going to have a more effective meeting. So encourage them to note take on paper instead of computers. How far you want to take that, of course, that's up to you. I think it would be an effective thing to do to just require everyone to come with a notepad and pen. And you can go as far as supplying a special notebook or notepad or whatever to the individuals who are involved in the meeting, so that you know that they have that, and that's their required materials to come to the meeting. I think that would also be an effective way of encouraging that.
Thank you for listening to the Tough Decisions Network. Visit toughdecisions.net to sign up for our free weekly entrepreneur email. That's toughdecisions.net.